Hi, welcome back to my allotment. I've just spent a lovely afternoon up here. I've been up here for about 5 or 6 hours now and it has been lovely. The weather has been nice and warm but not too warm, and now it's just starting to cool down a little bit, and I'm thinking about heading home, having some dinner. But I thought before I went home I would just give you all a little plot tour. And it's going to have to be a quick one because I think I've only got about 25 minutes of recording time left anyway. But I'm just going to give you all a little plot tour to show you how things are coming along and what stage we're at on the 9th of June in plot 7A. And it's probably easy enough to start right where I'm sitting, which is by the onions. They're putting on some really strong growth now, as you can see, especially the ones here in the middle. They're really starting to bulb up at the bottom, which is great. I had a couple that I've lost. The roots were no good, and I started to worry if I had something that was eating the roots. But the others seem, at the minute, touch wood, to be fairly well rooted in. So I'm not too bothered about the couple that I've lost. I say I'm happy with this onion bed. And the giant onions are behind. I don't know if you can see them. I say the giant onions, but they're actually the smallest of the lot so far, so I'm hoping they're going to put on some more growth. I'd imagine that they will. Yeah, so I planted them a little bit later anyway, so these ones are doing well. The ones behind, I say they're growing well too. There was 10, it's down to 8 now. One of them just died, and the other one, I did something to it. I might have trodden on it or strimmed it. I did something, the other one was my fault. So that one's gone as well, so we're down to 2 there. But that is how the onions are getting on. And we'll move along now, I think, to the top of my allotment, and I'll take you through what I've got growing and how it's doing. Okay, down here we've got the asparagus. You saw me putting the bed in another video. It's all come up now and it's showing some strong growth. It is getting blown over a little by the wind. I'm not sure whether to try and put some stakes in the corners of the bed and some string to try and tie it up. I don't want to put stakes obviously next to it because I don't want to damage the roots, but I'm hoping as they get stronger and older they'll stand up a little better. There was one on the end there that has come right out, but it looks like there's some other spears starting to come up. So I'm pretty happy with the asparagus. And next to the asparagus I've got the strawberries. Now the strawberries are a little bit hit and miss actually. This one plant that I'm focusing on now has actually produced masses of berries, which is fantastic. The trouble that I've had was a few of them actually rotted before they'd ripened, and I'm not sure why that was. They were on the soil, so I'm trying to get them off the soil now, just with these little mats, but they are still touching. I've got a nice red one there that's pretty much ready for picking. As you can see, masses of other berries coming along. So I'm happy with that plant, say bar the rotting. And the other plants are doing okay. None of them have produced any ripe strawberries yet, but most of them have got flowers or berries. So I'm pretty happy with the strawberries this year as well. Now, if I had to pick the bed that I was least happy with this year, it would definitely be this one. This is supposed to be my salad bed with the lettuce and the pak choi and all my lovely salads, but as you can see, it's looking a little sparse. And the reason for that is purely it's slugs. They've come up and they've just been eaten. And I'm having an ongoing battle with slugs on this bed. As you can see, this lettuce here has just been decimated, and there was other ones of these, Lolo Bianco, that had a row of them, and all bar one have been got. And again down there, the pak choi, that's gone as well. So I'm not happy about that, not happy at all. The one lettuce that does seem to be doing okay, or there's two lettuces that are doing alright. And funnily enough, that is the red lettuces just behind me. I don't know if this is coincidence or luck, or if slugs don't like red lettuce, but these two rows seem to be doing nicely. And they've sustained hardly any slug damage. I don't know if maybe it tastes a little more mustardy, or it smells, or because it's next to the onions, the smell of the onions is putting the slugs off. But for whatever reason, the red lettuce is doing miles better than anything else that's been planted in my salad bed. And I'm hoping that it continues that way. And down here to my left, I've got my spinach. As you know, if you've watched my previous videos, I was having so many problems with spinach germinating and growing. And it seems to be coming along now. I've still got a couple of gaps, but I'm not bothered about them. I haven't actually managed to harvest any this year yet. And it's so late because last year I think I was harvesting it probably 4 to 6 weeks ago. Time-wise, it would have been beginning of May, I'm sure I was getting spinach. But this year it's growing slowly, but it is growing. And this one seems to be ahead of all the others, but I haven't picked these leaves because there's not enough to have a meal out of. I could pick these, but I've got nothing for them to go with. So I'm thinking another week or so, and some of these other plants will be ready for picking as well. My only worry is that the weather obviously is getting hotter now, and I don't want it to bolt before I've had a chance to pick any. So what I'm going to have to do is make sure that I keep the watering regular and don't let the soil dry out. In saying that, you can see right now the soil is dry today. I watered, was it yesterday or the day before? But it's been so hot and dry, so I'm going to give it a good soaking before going home tonight, because the last thing I want is the spinach to bolt and to lose it all after trying so hard to actually get it growing in the first place. Right, just here I've got some sweet corn and some borlotti beans. Sweet corn, super happy with. Not a lot else to say about that. I am so happy with how that's doing. Really, really pleased with it. The borlotti beans, on the other hand, I had no problems with germination on them. I had problems with germination of some of my other peas and beans, but the borlottis started to come up fine. And that's when the slugs came, and they have done to my beans what they did to my lettuce. I've had a few that have got through fine, but there was another row in the middle here, and that, all bar a couple, they're completely gone. And it's so frustrating, it really is. I mean, I'm trying to garden organically and keep everything nice and organic and natural, but when you get a whole row just completely destroyed like that, it really does make you want to reach for the slug pellets. But I haven't done yet. I'm going to try and find other methods. And I've had a lot of ideas and a lot of other methods, like coffee grounds and the seaweed that I've used on the sweet corn that work really well. Wool, beer traps, copper tape. I haven't tried any of those yet. I really should. Obviously, I really should. Apart from the seaweed, which I have used. But some of them have come up in twos because I planted 2 beans in each hole. And some of them, like there for example, I've got 2 healthy plants, so I'm debating whether to try and actually transplant some to fill this row. The only worry is I don't want to risk damaging the plants if I'm taking them up to transplant and killing off both. But I'll give that a go, because I don't like having an empty row, and I haven't got any seeds left to sow now. So I think I'm going to try and fill out the rows with some of the healthier plants that have survived. Right, what else have I got to show you? Right, the little 3-tier planter is coming on so well, it's getting almost overcrowded. I've got spring onions at the front, and I have picked, well, 4 of them so far, which wasn't a lot, but I got 4 out of there, which was cool. And there's more that are virtually ready that I shall be pulling up soon. And then up here I have got carrots, and they need thinning out, I think. They do need thinning out, but they're growing really nicely. I'll thin them out in a bit to give them a bit more space to grow. And right at the back, not that you can see it behind the carrots, but I've got a row of celtis, which is also doing very well. So I'm happy with this bed, or this planter. Yeah, very happy with that. Just here I've got runner beans at the back. They've all grown well. They are getting attacked by slugs, but I think they're winning the slug war, which is what I want. They are starting to climb up, and there's not a lot to say about them really. I planted the seeds germinated, the seeds grew. The slugs had a little bit of a feast, but the beans are fighting back, which is what we like. At the front here I've got tomatillos. I tried growing tomatillos at home from seed, and it didn't work. I couldn't get the seeds to germinate, so I ended up cheating and buying little plug plants. But they're coming on nicely, starting to flower, which is what we like. And I'm hoping that in a few weeks I might be picking some lovely fresh tomatillos so I can make my Mexican salsa again. Because I've got a fantastic salsa recipe for a salsa verde that works with the tomatillos, and it's so good. And I made it last year, and I'm just crossing my fingers that the plants do as well this year as they did last year, because I want to make that salsa again. So here we have the peas, the mange tout, and the French beans. I was concerned about these. The first row of peas and mange tout that I sowed, they didn't, well, a couple germinated and got eaten, and most of them didn't germinate, and I think they got eaten by mice or rats or something. Something ate them. So I had to plant a second row. But they are growing. And there's no gaps in the rows there, so I'm happy with them. They're starting to come up the frame. So everything seems to be a little bit behind this year, but I don't think I'm the only one. I think it's a little behind for everybody. The French beans, they actually didn't germinate. Nothing. I think they got eaten. So I had to resow them. I sowed them at home, and these two here are French beans that I grew at home, and I've now brought up and transplanted out here. And they're now happy and in their final position, looking good. Now in here, I'm afraid I've got perhaps one of my biggest disappointments of the year so far, and that is that the watermelon that I'd grown at home, acclimatised to outside, and then transplanted out here, didn't make it. And I'm absolutely gutted about that. I don't know why it didn't survive. I came up one day and it was dead. And it was so disappointing, because last year I had 3 watermelons growing in this polytunnel, and they all grew so well, and we got 4 watermelon fruit. And I know that's not a lot for 3 plants, 4 fruit, but it was my first time growing them, and we're in the UK. And watermelons don't grow particularly well in the UK, but we managed to do it, and we got 4 fruit about that sort of size each, and they were ripe and they were beautiful. And I was hoping to repeat that this year, but sadly not. Watermelon seeds can be direct sown outside in May. We're now on the 9th of June. I've got a couple of seeds left, and I'm thinking I might just direct sow a couple more. I'm a couple of weeks late, but as I said, I'm late with everything this year, so why not be late with the watermelon? So I may put a couple of seeds in there just to see if I can salvage anything, because I really want more watermelons. That's a sweet pepper plant that I bought from the garden centre. It's the only plant, bar the tomatillos, that I've actually bought from a garden centre this year. The others I've grown from seed. So I've cheated with that one, but that's all right. You're allowed to cheat now and again. So just here I've got tomatoes, all different varieties. They're all indeterminate, so I will need to do side shooting on them and whatnot. I haven't yet, but I will. I'm not holding out too much hope, because blight is a problem up here. Excuse me. And I've got a feeling they may get blight, but I've got so many tomato plants at home, I didn't have space for these ones, and if I hadn't put them up here, they would have gone to waste, or I would have given them away. So I thought I'd give them a go up here and see how it works out. They're growing nicely, but whether they will produce any tomatoes that we can actually use, or if they will get blight and die, remains to be seen. Right, I'd love to show you the rest of the plot, but I'm very aware I've got about 4 minutes left on that to record. So I'm very quickly going to say, that's the flower patch. It needs weeding. They're the chilies. They're doing nicely. Lavender, great. Raspberries, overcrowded, but berries on them turning red, not netted, so hopefully I'll get them and the birds won't. If the birds get them, there we go. Courgettes, marrows. And that's about everything. Behind me there's some potatoes and some herbs, more potatoes, and that's about it. Sorry for the little rushed ending there, I just noticed the time and I thought I don't want to run out mid-video. So I'm sure I'll be up here again giving you another update pretty soon anyway. So thanks for watching this one today. Likes and subscribes are always appreciated, and I shall see you next time. Happy gardening!